It's another beautiful baseball night here at SunTrust Park, and the New York Mets are in town for Game 3 of 4. This week's Mets-Braves series is brought to you by Echo Outdoor Power Equipment. And boy, was there plenty of power on display here at SunTrust Park last night. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe. The ball was flying out of the ballpark last night. Tonight, the starters will try to regain a little control from the mound. Bartolo Colon for the Braves, Jacob deGrom for the Mets, and for the Braves, Big Bart needs to turn around quickly.
He does, but you know, the one good game he has really pitched, the best of the games he has pitched, has come right here at SunTrust Park. That's where he won his only game of the year. Came against San Diego, 7 innings, real strong. Only gave up 1 run, 1 walk, struck out 6. And of course, he knows these Mets. He played for them and he pitched against them in Game 2 of this season, and he pitched real well in 6 innings up in New York.
Jacob deGrom's got the ball for the Mets. Swing and a miss stuff. He's been dominant over his last 3 starts.
His last 3 starts, he's had at least 10 strikeouts, and he hasn't even gone more than 7 innings. Look at that. 35 strikeouts in his last 19 2/3 innings. Talking to Kevin Seitzer before the game, he says 1 run, 2 runs, it'll be huge. It'll be up to Bartolo to hold them down.
We'll see what happens on a beautiful night for baseball here in Atlanta. It's the Mets and the Braves, Game 3. Lineups and first pitch coming up after this timeout.
Presented by Echo Outdoor Power Equipment.
Fans still filing into SunTrust Park as we get you set for Game 3 of this 4-game series. Braves won last night, played long ball with New York, and tonight Bartolo Colon would love similar support against Jacob deGrom as Bartolo is gunning for his 2nd win of the year this evening.
1-2, a 5.59 ERA. That 1 win came here in this ballpark. There you see the numbers. On the road, not so good. His last start against Milwaukee, 5 innings, 10 hits, 6 runs, but he got taken off the hook by some good offense. His 4 keys tonight: early innings. Do not let Jacob deGrom get settled in with a lead, because he'll be even tougher. So hold him down. Hopefully your offense will give you some runs. And Bruce Almighty, boy, he has been. Jay Bruce is on fire. 2 home runs last night, 6 RBIs. The 1 run that Colon gave up in New York, a Jay Bruce home run.
So Bartolo's ready, and Michael Conforto takes inside, and we're underway. Another breezy night here at the Windy Hill exit, as Michael Conforto, batting .344, gets things started. He's done a great job for the Mets in the leadoff spot. He's hit a lot of home runs, scoring a lot of runs, and he's riding a 5-game hitting streak. Got the inside corner.
Well, he needs that tonight. He's been in the middle of the plate a little too much, not hitting each side of the plate like we're accustomed to seeing.
Ripped into right center field. Markakis will chase that one to the wall. So will Ender Inciarte, and Conforto's going to stop at second with a leadoff double. And here come the Mets in the early innings once again. A leadoff double for Conforto.
You can see where Tyler Flowers was set up, trying to get that ball away from Conforto, but it had the inner third of the plate. Location, location, location.
That brings up Asdrubal Cabrera, the second place hitter for the Mets on their Toyota starting lineup, as presented by their manager Terry Collins. Rene Rivera, TJ Rivera, 7th and 8th for New York in Game 3. Travis d'Arnaud, a wrist problem, came out of the game last night. A strike to Cabrera, who was only 1 for 20 in his career against Bartolo Colon. Mets very cautious and careful with Asdrubal Cabrera. He too is having some nagging injury issues. He was feeling soreness in the back of his knee on the last homestand for New York. That's cost him some range, they say, at shortstop. He says, however, he's 100%. This one's hit a mile and well foul to right. And the count to Cabrera, now a ball and 2 strikes. And that would be the last thing that New York needs, another one of their starting players to go down with any kind of an injury right now.
That would not be good. Wind's blowing across toward right tonight, as you said, going the other way last night.
That stroke down the left field line, and that's going to get down for a run scoring hit. Conforto will score easily. Cabrera jogs into second, and back-to-back doubles puts New York in front 1-0.
Not a whole lot you can say about this, Chip. That was not a bad pitch. Just a guy who reached out and hit it the other way. Not even a strike.
So Cabrera's second career hit against Colon gives New York the lead, and here is Bruce Almighty. Jay Bruce has had a monster series. Bruce hit 2 homers last night. A 2-run homer in the first and a grand slam in the 9th. His 5th career grand slam, his 23rd multi-homer game. And that's a strike even count.
Good change up.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And Bruce spoiled that pitch and stays alive.
Yeah, it's not one run that you think in the first inning might beat you, but doggone it, these guys with DeGrom pitching, they give him a lead, and he's awfully tough. That was the home run off the top of the fence that Bruce hit off of Cologne in New York in Game 2 of the season.
Another shift on for Bruce as Cologne turns it loose, and that's bounced foul. Terry Collins and the Mets have lost 12 of their last 15 games. New York 11-15 on the year. They've split the first 2 games in Atlanta to this point, and that's taken low. Bruce now a 2-2 count.
Yeah, and the funny part is they went into Washington and won the first 2 games there.
And of course the roof fell in when Syndergaard got hurt. The Nationals scored 23 runs in that series wrap up, and then New York made their way to Atlanta. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bruce will take a walk too. He's been walked 11 times. And now the 8th pitch of the at bat is taken low. So 3 straight Mets hitters have reached to start the game. First and second, 1 out. Or first and second, nobody out. 1 in, I meant to say. And here's Neil Walker.
They got 2 in the first inning last night on Bruce's homer. Added a home run from Cabrera in the 3rd inning. Braves were unfortunately scoring early also. But I don't want to shortchange the Braves offense. The way they've been swinging the bat, they can wear out anyone. But DeGrom has been a hot pitcher.
That's skied to the left side and into the seats foul. Steve Reich 1 for Neil Walker.
Nobody on, nobody out. That average a little high. Too much of the plate. And it's steadily better.
Yeah, Bartolo is definitely a pitch to contact guy. The Mets have made contact twice and they've got the first run. The 18th pitch of the inning is a strike. Walker's hit into a couple of double plays. One here would be perfect.
Walker was late on that one. I know we didn't see Neil Walker that much in Pittsburgh, but his stance left-handed, I don't recall it being so upright.
Feet very close together for Walker. And there's a high fly ball hammered to right. Markakis won't get that. That's going to bounce off the fence. 1 run scores. Here comes Bruce to third. He'll stop. And the Mets have their 3rd double of the inning. It's 2-0.
Tell you what that swing did for him, though. He actually took a stride. Front foot moved. but he got it down in time, and then it was just all hands from there. Short stroke. His 12th RBI.
Curtis Granderson's the batter. He's in the throes of an awful slide. He's 1 for his last 30, 3 hits in his last 49 at bats. And a strike. Popped up. Wind might play some tricks with this one. Dansby Swanson is at shortstop and makes the play. There's the first out. We've seen Granderson pop the ball to the left side of the infield and in shallow left a couple of times during the Braves Mets series. And there's the first out, and Jose Reyes is the hitter.
I'd be tempted to walk this guy. Even though he's hitting a .172, he's been on fire lately. You got a catcher on deck.
Something off speed. Reyes fouled it back, and he's down a strike. Braves got him going in New York when he hit a home run. Since then, Jose's been on base in 9 consecutive games with 5 extra base hits and 5 RBIs. He's got 2 Mets in scoring position here in the first. Atlanta's down 2-0. Another pop up, and Walker forgot how many outs there were. Dansby the catch. The throw back to second is a double play, and there's a huge gift. Walker forgot how many outs there were, and he's doubled off, and the Braves are bailed out in the first inning on a 6-4 pop-up double play. All help appreciated. 2-0 New York. The Braves are coming up. Walker, the Braves might feel fortunate that that's all New York got. However, 2 runs for Jacob deGrom is a very big hill to try to climb. Luckily, Atlanta's got 9 innings to try to do it.
These are his numbers for the year: 44 strikeouts to 11 walks. His last 3 starts: 13 Ks, 10 Ks, 12 Ks. No more than 7 innings in any of those. However, he has given up some runs, and he's allowed 4 home runs this year, all on the road. So maybe that'll play into the Braves' favor here, already down a pair.
And as you said, partner, the Braves offense is scorching hot right now. So let's see if the Braves can do some early damage, as that one's taken high by Inciarte. 1 ball, no strikes.
95 plus fastball, slider, and a changeup. Kevin Seitzer said tonight to me that he wants his hitters to try to lower their zone. Try not to offer it anything that is letter higher better because of this guy's fastball. And he doesn't pitch inside that much. Something under 20% to left-handers.
Ender didn't like that strike call by Larry Vanover. Must have grazed the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's grounded towards short. Right at Cabrera. And there's the first out. Braves enter play tonight 11-14 on the year. The Atlanta Toyota starting lineup as Adonis Garcia batting second and playing third base. He's swinging the bat a lot better. You know all about Freddie Freeman here at SunTrust Park. Kemp, Markakis, and Tyler Flowers in there. Jace Peterson, a planned start today for Brandon Phillips. Dansby Swanson 8th, Bartolo Colon 9th. Adonis up to 237 for the year. He's hit 2 homers and driven in 10. And a little late, 0-2.
DeGrom's made 9 starts against the Braves in his career, and he's 3-3. That's not all that impressive, but his 1.71 ERA is just like his start against Atlanta and New York early this year. 6 innings, a 2-hit shutout ball.
Over the inside corner, and Garcia's frozen. That pitch was on the inner half, and Adonis leaves shaking his head. 2 up and 2 down in the home first.
Like a slider too, a front door slider. No, it's fastball, maybe a little cutter. It never looked like it had the plate, but framed nicely by Rivera.
.62 strikeouts, 10 walks for DeGrom entering this game against Atlanta all time. Remarkable. Freddie Freeman puts it in play, and a shot out to second, and DeGrom has an easy 1-2-3. Bottom of the first, he leads 2-0.
All right, fans, don't let this happen to you. It's time for
Baseball on Fox Sports Southeast is presented by your local Chevy dealers. Georgia Drive Chevy. Find new roads.
Jacob deGrom is coming up third here in the second inning, but he was taking a peek at his pitching hand as he finished off the first inning.
Either right under the nail or maybe on the nail, like on his middle finger.
We'll keep an eye on that as the night continues. Bartolo Colon back to work. Rene Rivera, the Mets catcher, leads off.
Guy's an excellent receiver, but he's been able to stay in the big leagues for a decent amount of time because he can hit a fastball.
Short hopped right to Jace Peterson, who played it right off his midsection. Rivera's out number 1.
Saw Kurt Suzuki before the game. Remember last night he got hit right on the edge of the rib cage with a pitch, and yes, there was a bruise, and yes, it was sore. Told him if it made him feel any better, I was in a fetal position in the booth after it happened.
That was amazing. And he's able to stay in the game. T.J. Rivera, the Mets first baseman, bats for the first time. Rivera filling in for Lucas Duda, who's still out with a hyperextended elbow. Mets might be getting some help in the next couple of days. Wilmer Flores is here in Atlanta with the Mets club today. He played on a rehab game in Las Vegas yesterday. He had a knee infection, you might recall, and he's eligible to come back from his stint on the DL on Friday.
There he is, and they're glad to have him back and be happy to activate him.
Two balls, one strike. Fly ball well hit center. Ender on the run. He's to the track and makes the catch shy of the fence. Two men out, and here's DeGrom.
The pitcher, number 40, Jacob DeGrom.
DeGrom 1 for 11 with 6 strikeouts. Can't just lay it in there to this guy. DeGrom at Stetson University played third base and shortstop for his first 2 years in college before becoming a pitcher as a junior. And the Mets took him in the 9th round in 2010. He was the 272nd player.
You know what, though, if he was just a run-of-the-mill shortstop, third baseman, slender, skinny.
Line drive to center with 2 outs.
That's not run-of-the-mill. Then by shifting to pitching for 1 year, you know, there's probably scouts are maybe a little skeptical about whether or not he would actually be a pretty decent professional pitcher. So you can understand how he might have slipped, but he can hit.
Do. That left ankle bent not once but twice in that sequence, but he's all right. And here's Conforto. The Mets are absolutely thrilled with the job that Conforto has done batting first, much like the Braves are thrilled with what Ender Inciarte has done. Almost out of necessity, Conforto's been the guy that's been tabbed to lead off for New York because the rest of their number 1 hitters this year are batting a combined .060. Conforto's hitting almost 10 times better than that as far as the batting average is concerned. And a strike.
What's the object of a guy leading off?
Get on base.
Why?
Set the table, create havoc, get the pitcher in the stretch.
Why?
Give your big bat, give your 2, 3, 4 guys a chance to drive you in.
Drive you in. Ultimately, your job is to score runs. He's already scored 14 runs, and the most on their team is 17 with Jay Bruce.
He got jammed. Bartolo buzzed that one in on the hands of Conforto, and that takes care of New York. DeGrom a hit. He's left stranded. Matt Kemp will lead off the second. 2-0. Mets leading game 3.
For all for less.
Mets 2, Braves nothing. Matt Kemp ready to go here in the second inning. Markakis and Flowers to follow. DeGrom retired the side in order in the first inning on 2 groundouts and a called third strike on Adonis Garcia. Matt Kemp's done great work against the Mets staff. 12 hits against New York pitching, 4 hits in this series, and Matt is feasting on fastballs. Figure he's going to see a couple in this at bat.
When I was watching the first group hit today, it was quite an exhibition, but the last swing Matt Kemp took hit a fly ball that went out into the Braves bullpen in right center, and Freddie Freeman had a big smile on his face talking, yeah, loving this. And Nick Markakis said to Matt, did you hit that very well? And he goes, I hit it straight up. I hit it high. So the guys are enjoying these early signs of SunTrust Park.
23 home runs in the first 9 games at SunTrust Park. Not as much wind at the moment as DeGrom back to work. And he missed up and away. Fred Kerber, terrific writer for the New York Post, was very witty in the Mets newspaper clippings today. He came up with a great name for SunTrust Park. He called it Homer Depot.
And it might be.
Nick Markakis told me yesterday that early in the game it's pretty lively until the sun goes down. Then it starts to play a little bit more fairly, as it were, from the pitcher's perspective. But we haven't gotten to the heat of the summer yet, and the ball is already flying. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Just missed that pitch, but Matt has been squaring up a lot of fastballs so far, well, since the 2016 All-Star break. 300 point better than average on slugging percentage.
Didn't get it. DeGrom has his second strikeout. Remember, he's got 10 or more in 3 straight games, and he's got 2 tonight. And Nick Markakis, the batter.
His last start came against Washington, and he won the game 7-5. He went 7 innings, gave up 3 runs, walked 1, struck out 12. The thing that really stood out is that he had 17 swings and misses, and he has 95 of those coming into this start. 95 swings and misses. That's the second highest number in baseball to Chris Sale.
There's a line drive toward left, and Conforto reaches up, makes the play. 2 out. Look, with all due respect to Noah Syndergaard, who's now hurt, with all due respect to Matt Harvey and Steven Matz and Zach Wheeler, would you say that DeGrom has turned out to be maybe the best of the bunch?
He's certainly as good as any of them, and has a chance to be better, I think. He had Tommy John surgery, I think, his 2nd year in pro ball, so he's already weathered that storm. He's a good athlete, as you said, good hitter, feels his position well.
And what I like is he hasn't, nor does it appear he has allowed the media machine in New York to turn him into a cartoon character. He just goes out and pitches. Yeah, he's got the long shaggy hairdo, but you never read about him in the tabloids in New York, other than when he pitches well.
Well, he's from DeLand, Florida. So maybe he was able to be grounded there and not let all that hype get to him in New York.
Softly fouled into the Braves dugout. Tyler Flowers enters play at 380. And he's got a 2-ball, 1-strike count. There's another one of those swings and misses.
Good fastball. He'll throw just kind of a mini cutter slider and then a real slider. 7 on that one.
Little pop behind first. T.J. Rivera out. Can't hang on to it. Lost the glove. The ball drops softly with 2 outs, and Flowers has the first Braves hit.
Now I wonder what they would have done, because you can't throw your glove at the ball, and this was 100% accidental, that Rivera's glove, and that was a slider that didn't slide. But Rivera, as he's reaching, the glove comes off accidentally. Ball actually hit his glove, looked like, didn't it? But I wonder what would happen if somehow your glove comes off and you didn't throw it, but it hits the baseball. Would they have given Tyler second base?
Might have. I don't know. It's a good question. For Jace Peterson, who's in the box, I'm sure Rich Rieker's watching our game somewhere, one of Major League Baseball's umpiring supervisors. Maybe Rich can send us the answer to that question.
Jace has been playing great baseball. Already made a good play defensively tonight. And swinging the bat whenever he's called on.
So DeGrom in the stretch for the first time. Let's see if that affects him here in the second. Two balls and a strike. Good cut. It's 2-2.
He had a good cut last night. I think he had a pinch hit single, didn't he? Maybe it was 2 nights ago. And it was on a good fastball. And the 9th inning off Amelia.
That's rolled foul. We'll do it again. Well, Jace has been busy. He's played third, he's played short, he's played second, he's played left. And now the 2-2 pitch. So an advantage for Flowers. He'll get a running start with a 3-2 count. There he goes, and he'll head back. Hey, nice catch by one of the Braves security folks. One-handed grab. A level below and to our left. And a swing and a miss retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, and a man left. 2-0 Mets.
Presented by
in Game 3 tonight. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.TV for all the details. Well, one of your Ford keys was early innings. Unfortunately, that came to pass. New York got both runs in the first. They had 2 runs in before Bartolo recorded an out.
Yeah, 3 doubles and a walk. And fortunately, Neil Walker had a vapor lock on the bases that allowed the Braves to get out of the inning with only 2 runs allowed. But Bart's got to do the same thing. Oh, put up some more zeros. Cabrera got hit in the leg yesterday, didn't he?
Right in the back of the calf. That was in Game 1, 9th inning. He got smoked. Jason Mott hit him. Now it's Bartolo Colon. And Cabrera already with those sore legs. Gingerly makes his way to first. Start inning number 3. And Bartolo's talking to him about it. Here's Bruce. He walked in the opening inning. A swing and a miss. Several fans have sent in answers to your question about the glove.
Okay.
And whether the glove touches the ball. The ball is in play and the batter may advance toward the plate at his peril. It's 3 bases if a fielder deliberately throws his glove at and touches a fair ball. It's 2 bases if a fielder touches a thrown ball with his cap, mask, or any part of his uniform detached from its proper place on his person.
Knew that.
So my question is, does the deliberately part factor in to the umpire's decision?
Yes.
In the case of Rivera diving for the ball, it accidentally comes off. There'd be no penalty for that.
That's what I want to know.
One ball, 1 strike. And Bruce skies one toward right center. Ender says he's got it, and he does. Bruce retired for the first time. 1 on, 1 out.
One of the things that's sometimes hard for catchers is, like on a tap route in front of the plate, to take their mask off, go out to field it, and then corral the baseball with their mask back to their glove. Can't do that. That's 2 bases.
Good news, bad news inning for Walker. Good news is he has an RBI double. The bad news is he forgot how many outs there were in the first and was doubled off.
I know Terry Collins well enough to know that when that happened, there was a lot of steam coming out of his ears. It's one thing when your team is hurt and shorthanded and scuffling, but when you make mental mistakes like that and have a chance to have a big inning in the first, no excuse. Especially from a veteran player.
Two balls, no strikes. It's been his best pitch tonight.
It's been very effective. Well, let's face it, teams know he's going to throw 95% fastballs. It's just a matter of what location.
Dangerous pitch. 3 balls and a strike. Cabrera leads at first. He's got a 3-2 count. There he goes. And it's out of play, foul. Neal will turn 32 years old in early September. The Mets got him from the Pirates after the 2015 season for Jonathan Neese.
Neese was trying to find a job during spring training.
Walker's hit 20 or more homers 2 times in the last 3 years. 23 last season with the Mets. Again the runner goes, and again it's fouled back. Real contrast in styles between DeGrom and Bartolo Colon. You mentioned DeGrom has the 95 swings and misses this year. Bartolo Colon doesn't have 95 swings and misses.
No, he's around the plate. He doesn't use and employ too many breaking pitches. So he'll use a straight changeup and an occasional breaking ball.
Again the runner goes. The pitch is a ball, and 2 are on with 1 out. So 2 walks and a hit batsman for Colon in the game. And here's Granderson, who's popped out. Terry Collins also said that Granderson had a planned night off last night, is probably not going to play tomorrow. He's in the lineup against Colon tonight. A notorious slow starter, but Terry said, look, it's May. We got to get this guy going. Granderson hitting 122 for the year.
Now that early slow starting excuse is gone. And for Terry Collins, he wants results and needs results because of them being shorthanded.
Right there for a strike. It's an even count. You look at some of the numbers for the Mets up and down their lineup, you wouldn't think they'd be an offensively challenged club, but believe it or not, they have the lowest team batting average in the National League entering play tonight. The Mets as a team hitting .220. Over half of their runs come as a direct result of a homer.
I had a teammate once who was a real good hitter, who I ran into him at a later date when we weren't teammates anymore. I said, how you doing? And he goes, I'm out of hits. I said, are you in a slump? He goes, no, I just think I'm out of hits. I don't think I have any more hits left. I think we all get a certain amount of hits, and that's it.
Sharply hit, pulled foul past Tom Goodwin, the Mets first base coach.
So I'm just saying, well, maybe Curtis is running low on hits.
Might. I think he's a free agent at the end of the year. Yep. He's done good work for the Mets. 20, then 26, then 30 home runs last year. And he batted leadoff a lot of the time for New York. 2-2 pitch is lined. Foul again. That'll one hop into the seats.
these hard hit balls pulled foul are somewhat of a moral victory for Curtis. Feels good hitting the ball hard like that. At least you know you're on it.
Two balls, two strikes. Jose Reyes is on deck. There's a shot down the right field line. That's headed for the corner. That's going to bounce off the fence. Cabrera scores. Walker on his way to third. He's going to stop, and the Mets are doubling Colon to death. An RBI hit for Curtis Granderson, and New York extends the lead to 3-0.
And again, I contend those other foul balls gave him some confidence that he was on pitches, and certainly on this one to keep it fair. Glenn Sherlock's the new third base coach for the Mets, and Neil Walker could have scored on that play if he'd waved him home. Decided to hold him at third.
So second and third, one out. And a reprieve for the moment for Bartolo. Line drive into center field. That'll score one. Granderson's going to be stopped at third. They won't run on Enciarte. First and third, one out. And the Mets are pulling away here in the early innings. It's 4-zip. Already 6 hits. And the Atlanta bullpen's going to get to work. And Chuck Hernandez will buy a little time, as no one's throwing quite yet.
There's your long man, Josh Colemanter.
So Jose Reyes with his 6th RBI is now 3 away from pulling into the top 10 in Mets RBI history.
Talking about the location issues. Granderson got a ball that was down, but it was over the plate. That was a two-seamer that was on the plate and beginning to move away from Reyes, but not in time. He nailed it. But they had the center of the plate, even though they were down.
Well, you've got the catcher up in Rivera. He hit a wicked one-hopper to Jace Peterson back in the 2nd inning. Braves would take the same kind of play right here. A double play would get him out of the inning. Reyes started, then slammed on the brakes. Strike one.
Rene Rivera's turn to complain. He didn't like that inside call.
Not much working for Bartolo Colon tonight. 4 runs on 6 hits. He's got 1 out in the Mets' third. And now it's 1-2.
Colon's 43 years old. He's been in the big leagues a very long time. And as Paul Bird can attest, when he first came in the league, he was throwing extremely hard. For him to make that transformation between a fireballer and a pitcher, not that easy. It sure did lengthen his career.
2-2. Line drive softly hit to right field. That'll get down. That's going to score a run. Rivera reaches out and pokes one in front of Nick Markakis, and Granderson comes home to make it 5-0 Mets.
First baseman number 54, T.J. Rivera.
About the only thing Brian Snitker can hope for here is this part of the order, and T.J. Rivera's no slouch, batting 8th. But to get out of this inning and maybe be able to give the Braves another inning or 2, save the bullpen that much. But Rivera will probably determine that.
That's in for a strike for T.J. Rivera. Well, the last 2 outings for Cologne have been rather tough. Not counting tonight, 10 earned runs and 12 innings pitched over his previous 2 starts. New York's touched him for 5 more runs and 7 more hits in this game. Popped up. That'll carry out to Nick Markakis. And Rivera is out number 2.
And they got a double play because Reyes went to sleep.
Another one.
What a heads-up play by Dansby. Dansby took the throw in from Nick Markakis and noticed that Reyes had his back to him and was just walking back to the bag, and Dansby ran over and tagged him, and his manager again in stunned disbelief.
The Mets have been doubled off second base twice in the first 3 innings in this game. And all Dansby did was sneak in and tag out Reyes as the Mets settle for 3 in the third.
Adjustments, but also awareness of what pitches you're getting. look for pitches in your strength. In other words, middle away, if that's his strength. Quit looking for pitches where you're most vulnerable early in the count, especially. He said if they throw you a fastball inside that you can't handle, he said, okay, but there aren't that many pitchers who can hit that, as Kevin says, dot that spot that consistently. So you move on from there and quit, basically shrink the plate down a little bit and try to hit to your strengths.
Well, Dansby seemingly has been a lot more selective of late. He's hit the ball hard, relatively consistently, I think, over the last 8-9 games. And his average is slowly climbing to 158 at the moment. 2 homers, 6 RBIs. And even though he's not going 4 for 4 every night, he's still producing out of the 8th spot. Last night he walked, scored, and drove in a run with a sacrifice fly.
To further his point, one of the things that Kevin Seitzer said was said to him when he first got to the big leagues by his hitting coach, Hal McRae. He said, you take half the plate, the pitcher takes half. You got to figure out which half you like the best. He said, and that Hal McRae said there just aren't that many guys in the big leagues, big league pitchers, who can dot that spot on the inside corner consistently. And he said, once I heard that, he says, maybe the best information I ever got. And I never got it when I went to the plate, and it really helped me.
High strike. Swanson took it. 3-1 your count. Good cut there, but fouled straight back. 3-2.
Yeah, got a pitch to hit, missed it. But that's not unusual with this guy.
3 strikeouts so far for DeGrom. And Dansby walks. So a chance for Bartolo Colon to advance him. A leadoff pass here in the 3rd.
Paul, I know you talked to Kevin Seitzer and got that interview today. What did you come away with from a perspective of what could help Dansby?
Well, just that his timing was off, and hitting his timing, as you know, Joe, and I tried as a pitcher to throw off the hitter's timing, and I can tell when somebody steps in the box if they're not confident or if they're late to the dance when I throw a fastball or if they chase. Here's my favorite part about the whole thing. As Joe, you can attest to, it's really hard to hit. And we've never seen this young man struggle. He has such great makeup. I love the fact that he is the same person hitting 320 as he is struggling at 150. Same guy in the locker room, same guy that runs out the shortstop, doesn't take his at-bats with him. That tells me this guy's in it for the long haul and he's a winner.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Just like the play he just made, the heads-up play he made tagging out Reyes.
Exactly.
That's a little low for Colon. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, I think part of what you're saying too, Paul, is something that some scouts have told us, that they feel like he's late on the fastball and too early on the breaking balls. His timing is all messed up. And I think what Kevin's trying to do is prevent him from trying to hit everything. Not prevent, but try to help him realize he doesn't have to hit every pitch. Look for pitches in your zone where your timing can then get better.
And as a result of the aggressiveness and the size of his strike zone, how many times do we see Dansby in an 0-1 or 0-2 count?
That's something else Kevin talked about too, that he seems like he's always 0-1 to start an at bat. He wasn't tonight.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Dansby at first with a leadoff walk. 5-0. New York has the lead. And DeGrom is on the hill. The pitch is bunted foul to the right side, and that's a strikeout. Number 4 for DeGrom. 1 away. Amazing stat on Jacob DeGrom, and I think this plays into what you talked about with the early innings and how you wanted to keep the Mets off the scoreboard if you could. Tonight, Jacob DeGrom is making his 82nd start. He's held the opponents to 1 earned run or less in 36 of the 81 he's already made.
That's mighty impressive.
And so with a 5-run lead, you can understand the degree of difficulty for the Braves offense in this game. That's not to say it's impossible. The Braves are scoring runs in bunches. And they've got the right guys coming up here in the 4th with a man aboard.
And like I said, despite all those strikeouts, he's been giving up some runs. He hasn't given up 5 that I know of, but he's given up home runs. And in this ballpark, this game could turn around quickly.
Popped up right side, Walker and Rivera. It'll be the Mets first baseman, and he makes the grab in foul territory behind the first base bag. And there's the second out. No sign of discomfort for DeGrom as he was looking at his finger walking off the mound in the first inning. He's in complete command at the moment. He has struck out 4. First strikeout was Adonis Garcia, who was frozen on a pitch that might have been off the plate inside. That's how to play right side. It's a strike. Adonis Garcia back in the number 2 spot tonight. He's our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
A lot of runs scored, a lot of RBIs in 10 games. And his average keeps rising.
Oh, 2.
DeGrom made the All-Star team in 2015. He went 14-8 for the Mets and a .254 ERA. He got to pitch in the All-Star game 1 inning and struck out all 3 guys he faced. And he's been sitting 95 or better all night.
.21 pitches over 95 miles an hour. Bounce toward Reyes at third. That is a fair ball. Long throw. Rivera can't hold the bag. So there's another break. 2 on for Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, that's a big play. Get Freddie up there with 2 guys on. Tough play, and as it should, will go as a base hit.
Infield hit for Adonis. That brings up Freddie Freeman, our Zaxby's indescribably good player.
Again, these guys are what they've seen so far of SunTrust Park. They're loving it.
Wind blowing gently out now toward right center. And Freddie shoots one to left. Here comes Dansby around third. He's going to score without a play. And the Braves get their first run from who else? Freddie Freeman, his 17th RBI.
Cutter. Didn't try to do too much with it. Hit it sharply. Nobody home over there on that side of the diamond.
So back-to-back hits. The Braves cash in a leadoff walk. Now Matt Kemp is the hitter.
And as we showed you, a very good fastball hitter.
5-1 game now. Braves getting better looks at DeGrom the second time through the order. And he had a good cut there. Fouled it straight back. It's 0-1. Excellent production for Kemp in these situations. Garcia and Freeman, the Braves base runners. Fly ball center, but it's going to hang up for Granderson, and that retires the side. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 left. The Braves are on the board. We're off to the 4th inning.
Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. And by Delta Airlines.
Back at SunTrust Park, it's 5-1 New York now. Bartolo Colon back to work in the 4th inning. He'll start the frame with pitcher Jacob deGrom, who singled back in the 2nd. That stroke toward right at Markakis. That was well hit.
Good stroke.
And 1 out. Something happened today that I haven't heard of happen in Major League Baseball in a long time. You know all about the beanball wars that have taken place between the Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. Well, that bad blood spilled over today into a conference call where Major League Baseball called both managers, Buck Showalter of the Orioles, John Farrell of the Red Sox, and said enough's enough. Manny Machado had a ball thrown 95 or so behind his head the other day in retaliation for what the Red Sox felt was a dirty slide against Dustin Pedroia. Then Machado hit a home run at Fenway Park, took a very slow trot around the bases, got thrown behind again by Chris Sale yesterday. As this one's tapped back to the mound by Conforto. So during that conference call, the managers were told enough's enough. Go back to playing baseball. Enough of these pitchers risking the health of the batters. Well, Kevin Gossman's pitching for Baltimore tonight. He threw a 76-mile-an-hour breaking ball that hit Xander Bogaerts, and he got thrown out of the game by Sam Holbrook. And the Orioles went crazy.
They should have. It's almost like an umpire doesn't know baseball.
And Boston's winning that game 4-0 at Fenway Park. It's really been an ugly series in a lot of ways, with the horrific taunting of Adam Jones by some of the knuckleheads in the Boston crowd. And then Gossman thrown out for throwing a curveball. Amazing. Ground ball to second. Colon's going to have exactly what he needed. A 1-2-3 inning. Braves bats go back to work, down 4 runs in the 4th inning.
It's time now to send it back to Marcos for the Napa Cat Shuffle.
Georgia drives Chevy find new roads.
For Jacob deGrom, coming in hot. A walk and 4 strikeouts. That walk cost him a run, as Dansby Swanson led off the 3rd inning with a walk, came around to score. And for Bartolo Colon, you're right, he needed that quick 4th inning because the 1st and 3rd innings were a little rough on him tonight. 7 hits, 5 runs.
And that 5-run total is a telling one for New York. They've scored 5 or more runs in 7 straight games themselves. And so deGrom back to work with what's now a 4-run lead. Markakis, Flowers, and Jace Peterson coming up for the Braves.
Pretty good numbers all the way across.
And if those numbers are to be believed, you better get him now.
Yeah, a little hiccup in the middle.
Nick was a little late.
There's that zone that Kevin Seitzer was talking about. Lower your zone. Try to lay off that letter high pitch.
That one was even higher. Nick was fortunate to foul it off. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Line drive into left field on a 2-2 count. That guy's an amazing hitter.
He hit the ball hard that way his first time up, right at Conforto. This time able to hit a low liner on a slider that didn't slide again. And Nick able to take it the other way. Good piece of hitting.
Tyler Flowers had the first Braves hit. A little blooper into shallow right, just out of reach of T.J. Rivera, the Mets first baseman. Strike 1. Braves are very pleased with their catching core. A great job at the plate. Kurt Suzuki and Tyler Flowers have done. Braves catchers lead the majors with a .406 on base percentage, and their combined 16 runs batted in are tied for 4th in the big leagues and 2nd in the National League.
Good combo. And it's not a left-right platoon combo that's a little bit easier for managers to handle. They're both right-handed. Nice stop by Rivera, speaking of catchers. Both right-handed, so Brian's done a nice job of handling that lineup switch for those 2 guys and getting them at bats.
And the great job Kurt Suzuki has done catching the knuckleballs of R.A. Dickey is really instrumental too in what the Braves have done so far. This one's popped up out of play. It was interesting too, Joe, listening to R.A. Dickey's comments on Braves Live after the game last night. When Paul and Kelsey were in the locker room, they were asking R.A. to evaluate his performance. He said, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, he said, I thought my knuckleball last night was about a 4. He still does not believe he's had his real good knuckleball yet he's very encouraged by what he's been able to do without that 9 or 10 rated knuckler.
I don't know if Kurt would agree with that.
Yeah, right.
If you're back there trying to catch it, he may have it a little rated a little higher. But all in all, he's done a good job, having never caught a knuckleballer before, trying to figure it out.
1 ball, 2 strikes. There's a shot to left. Tyler Flowers is 2 for 2. And again, after the first 2 innings, the Braves are getting better looks, better swings, and better results against DeGrom.
Not as many swings and misses. That was that cutter again. Sometimes it's more like a slider, but this is more like a cutter, hoping the hitter gives up on it, and all it did was come back to the barrel of Tyler's bat. He's been hitting the ball hard.
So add 2 more hits to the total for the Braves catching core, and that brings up Jace Peterson, who struck out back in the 2nd. Didn't mean to, and it's fouled away. A strike.
Coleman is throwing again in the Atlanta bullpen in case Colon's spot comes up this inning. And if it does, it means the Braves have got a little rally going and they'll need a pinch hitter.
Jay showed bunt and took a ball low. Ground ball towards second. That should be a double play. And it is. Runner to third. 2 outs. Looked for a moment like Walker had just a little trouble getting that out of his glove.
Yeah, I was hoping it would throw the timing off for Asdrubal Cabrera where they wouldn't be able to get the second out. Yeah, he didn't have a good grip on that. But a nice job by Cabrera to slow down.
Dansby walked and scored the Braves run last inning. Another sign of the maturity that you and Paul were discussing about Dansby earlier in the game is the fact that whatever offensive woes he's having haven't really affected him defensively. Heads up play to double up Reyes earlier tonight. Might be evidence of that too. Emilio Bonifacio's in the on deck circle. DeGrom out of the windup and a 3-0 pitch. And they pitch around Swanson. They'll go after Bonifacio, who picked up his first pinch hit last night. And Dan Warthen is out as Jacobs throwing a bunch of pitches here in the 4th inning. So Braves fans, speaking of Dansby Swanson, join us on Friday, June 16th and get the one and only Dansby the Flow bobblehead brought to you by SunTrust Bank. First 20,000 fans here at the ballpark walk away with a bobblehead which features Dansby's inside the park home run slide from last year. Visit Braves.com/tickets and get your seats today. Four innings for Bartolo Colon tonight. 5 runs. Couple of walks, no strikeouts, a hit batsman.
Yeah, let's hope Bonifacio can reach. Turn the top of the order back into some action.
Showed bunt. And no swing.
That's the best cutter he's thrown tonight.
4 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 2 walks, 1 hit batter. 4 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 2 walks, 1 hit batter.
1 ball, 1 strike. And bounced foul. Last 3 starts for Bartolo now. 16 innings, 15 earned runs. 68 pitches tonight. And he had his share of short outings last year in New York. 11 of his starts were 5 innings or less with the Mets. Tonight he pitched 4. One ball, 2 strikes. Men at the corners. 5-1 Mets game. And Bonifacio laid off. That's rocketed down the line. A fair ball. 1 run scores. Here comes Dansby to third. They're going to wave it. Bonifacio on his way to third. Yeah, it's a triple. And the Braves are right back in this game.
Braves pinch hitters have come to life. A couple last night. Another one here on a low cutter. Lower your zone. I think Bonifacio did, and he just combed that one into the right field corner.
And just like that, the Braves bring the tying run to the plate. First triple for Bonifacio. 2 runs across in the 4th. 5-3 game. That gets the crowd buzzing. And the pitch from DeGrom way high. Ball 1. So the numbers do hold. Second time through the order has given DeGrom trouble. It's given him trouble tonight. Two walks, 2 runs for Swanson. A 2 RBI triple for Bonifacio. Tyler Flowers 2 hits. Freddie Freeman an RBI hit, and he's lurking here with 2 outs. And now he's gone 3-0 to Inciarte.
Yeah, the Braves are laying off some pitches that he's been getting swings on.
Already DeGrom at 76 pitches. He threw 112 pitches in 7 innings in his last start, so we'll keep an eye on that. He's about to make his 29th pitch of this inning. And he walked Inciarte. 3rd walk of the game. And now he'll go after Adonis Garcia.
2 starts ago, he got beat 3-1 by Washington, and it's amazing he only gave up 3 runs. 5 2/3 innings. He gave up 8 hits and 6 walks, but he also struck out 10.
So the Braves 5 for 8 in that turn through the lineup card. Now Adonis Garcia bats. He's 1 for 2. Righty-righty matchup. And he jumps at the first pitch and skies it towards shallow right. Jay Bruce is there, and that retires the side. The Braves pick up 2 runs. They do it on 3 hits and a couple of walks. We got a ball game again. It's 5-3 now. Xfinity Cam. Pretty night at SunTrust Park. The Mets jumped out 5-0. The Braves have scored the last 3 runs to make it a 2-run game after 4. And now Josh Comenter is coming on. Pinch hit triple for Emilio Bonifacio. By the way, that's the first triple in SunTrust Park history.
Is it?
Yep. And it brought home a couple of runs.
This guy's been outstanding. Josh Comenter gave up 2 runs at Pittsburgh, his first outing of the year. None in his next 4, including 1 stint against Washington. 3 innings of 5-hit shutout relief. Braves will need or could use some multi-inning relief tonight after a short outing by Cologne.
Bruce has walked and flied out. He was one of Joe's forward keys tonight after a gigantic game last night for New York. In the first month and 3 days, Bruce has already surpassed his power numbers that he accumulated with New York after the deadline last year. 8 homers, 19 RBIs, and 169 at bats with the Mets last year. 9 homers and 22 RBIs with 100 at bats for New York this season. Grounded toward first. Freddie gets a friendly hop, and Bruce is retired for out number 1. You know, the more this game percolates along and the closer the Braves get, there are 2 key plays in this game that are looming larger and larger as we're in the middle innings. One involved this man, Neil Walker, who forgot how many outs there were in the first inning and was doubled off second base. The other one was Jose Reyes, who carelessly sauntered back to second, and the throw behind him caught by Dansby Swanson, who tagged him on a routine fly out to right for a double play. So keep those in the back of your mind as we continue here in the 5th.
They used to call, back in the old days, a changeup was sometimes called a fadeaway. Sometimes the pitchers might throw actually kind of a screwball type spin, but it was called a fadeaway. And that's what Josh's reminds me of.
Dribble toward third. Adonis, bare hand, high throw, and Walker has an infield hit. Josh got the ground ball, but it was cued right down the third base line, and Adonis did a heck of a job to make it as close as he did.
Yeah, he had to make the throw from foul territory. Amazing that he made it that close.
Granderson with an RBI double and a run scored last time up. For all the run scoring prowess that the Mets possess, and they can hit home runs with the best of them, one thing they don't do a lot of is run on the base paths. Very short lead by Walker at first. And a change had Curtis way out in front, 0-2.
It's almost like when Josh throws that pitch to left-handers, there's some kind of gyroscope spin on it that causes it to just change directions.
Slowly hit to first, but foul. Yeah, we'll do it again.
I mean, you won't ever see anyone throw more right over the top than Josh Comenter. He has to get his head out of the way.
Josh made 3 starts for the Braves last year in September, went 2-0. and is an extremely valuable part of this pitching staff because of his ability to, as you said, pitch long innings in relief, and he knows how to start.
I mean, it is almost exaggerated, more over the top than over the top. What do you call that? Tricky?
No balls, 2 strikes. And downstairs. Yeah, I mean, when he gets ready to release the ball, it looks like his hand is actually on the left side of his head.
Yeah.
And then somehow he gets square to the plate and lets it go. One and 2 is in the dirt. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cole Mentor got to the big leagues with the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2011. He's won double digits in a single season twice, in 2011 and in 2014.
I know this. First couple of 3 times he pitched against the Braves, he ate him up.
And the 2-2 pitch with Walker at first. Fly ball well hit center. Ender on a dead sprint. Still going back. Still going back. Reaches up. Can't get it. The ball's off the wall and ricochets back toward the infield. Walker on his way to third is going to be stopped. And Curtis Granderson has a couple of doubles. And Ender Inciarte slammed into the wall trying to bring that one back. And he's shaken up.
Turned the right way, ran to a spot before he looked again, and then hit the wall hard. Grabbed his head. Man.
That was almost like a whiplash. So the infield comes in for Atlanta as Reyes bats. And he shoots one down the right field line, but that one's going to curl into foul ground for a strike. Nice catch.
There was another play there, and I thought Lynn Sherlock sure played conservatively for the Mets at third base. And I thought Walker would score easily.
Fly ball toward right center. Ender on the run, still going. He's going to get there shy of the track. That's deep enough to bring home Walker. Granderson tags up, and Jose Reyes has another RBI against the Braves tonight. It's sacrifice fly, and the Mets get a run back. It's now 6-3. That ball carried deep.
I don't know that we've seen enough games here to get a real good feel for how this ballpark's going to play, other than to know that neither team's out of a ball game, as we saw last night, no matter what the score, because the ball will jump out of here.
No homers yet tonight. 23 have been hit in this ballpark. The pace for home runs at SunTrust Park this year is for 207. The most home runs ever hit at Turner Field in a single year was 195 back in 2008. That's hit toward deep short. Dansby can't get it. A run is in. Garcia was trying to cut that ball off, slammed on the brakes, and it was placed perfectly for Rivera, who gets a 2-out hit and an RBI.
They come right back and get those 2 runs back.
So Granderson a big night, 2 doubles, 2 runs and an RBI. Rivera 2 hits and 2 RBIs. And now TJ Rivera is coming up. And more breathing room for New York now. It's a 7-3 game.
You made a good point a minute ago, Chip, about the Mets. How many games in a row that they've scored 5 or more?
Now it's 7 games.
Without Cespedes.
Right.
So they're picking up the slack without their big slugger in there.
1 ball, no strikes. That's a fair ball past Garcia, who is diving at third base. Rene Rivera on his way to third base. He's going to stop, and TJ Rivera has a double, and the Mets have wrapped out 11 hits.
Right down the line.
Well, again, I would think for the Mets, their goal is obviously to win as many games as they can, but to stay within shouting distance of Washington in the East. At the moment, the Mets are 6 games back. And if you look at their schedule in the month of May, on paper at least, it looks like the Mets with their pitching staff are going to have a chance to do some damage in May. After this series with the Braves tomorrow, they have a 3-game series with Miami at home, and that ends their stretch of 32 games against the East to start the 2017 season. Then they've got the Giants, Milwaukee, and Arizona on the road. That won't be easy in the desert.
No.
Home with Anaheim and the Padres, 3 with the Pirates, and then 3 at home with Milwaukee. So their May schedule has only 1 team that made the playoffs last year. That was the Giants. Hot shot, and into right field, a base hit. Another run is in. Markakis' throw to the plate is going to be not in time because Flowers dropped the ball. So DeGrom has a base hit. He drives home 2 more. It's a 4-run inning for New York, and they've blown it open. It's 9-3.
Good throw by Nick. 1 hopper. No, it wasn't even a hop. It was on the fly. Tyler just dropped it.
So Bruce grounded to first to start the inning. Walker a little tapper toward third that Adonis had very little chance to turn into an out. And then the roof is caved in. A double, a sac fly, an infield hit, another double, and now a 2-run single by the pitcher DeGrom makes it 9-3, and Comenter gets a breather as Chuck Hernandez makes a visit. Remember, DeGrom had 1 hit coming into tonight's game. He's 2 for 3.
2 for 3 with a line out. Yeah, rough outing for Josh tonight too. He's been pitching well. Mets are 7 for 10 with runners in scoring position already. We're in the 5th inning.
Oh, 2 for Conforto. And a swing and a miss, and that'll retire the side. 8 Mets come to the plate, 4 of them score. 9-3 New York.
Inning, and welcome back into our set here in the Battery Atlanta. I'm Kelsey Winger with this Xfinity game break. Emotions still running high in Boston after last night when Chris Sale threw a pitch behind Machado's head early in the game. Orioles pitcher Kevin Gausman hits Xander Bogaerts with a 76.6 mile-per-hour curveball. He's ejected. The Orioles are still clearly unhappy with Sam Holbrook, the home plate umpire. But now that same at bat in the 5th inning, Adam Jones strikes out. He's not happy with the call, and he's out of the game. So 2 ejections for the Orioles tonight. It is not very fun over there tonight, Chip and Joe. The Orioles are not happy. It's currently 4-1 Red Sox.
They should have been at Turner Field, and Sam Holbrook called an infield fly rule one night.
Yeah, it was about 60 feet to left. That's why I say every now and then it's an infield fly. It's actually on the infield. Who'd have thought? Yeah, rough night for Mr. Holbrook and for Baltimore in Boston. Freddie Freeman leads off. Let's see if the Braves can peck away against DeGrom. Some long at bats would be nice. Maybe get his pitch count up to 100 and get in that Mets bullpen. He's thrown 80 pitches in his first 4 frames. One of them was hit by Freeman in the 3rd inning for a run-scoring single. And that's bounced foul by Freddie. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A lot of Braves fans were disappointed that Freddie didn't win the Player of the Month award for the month of April. He had a sensational first month for the Braves, but he had a lot of competition. Moving down the left field line, out of play. It's still 2-2. Bryce Harper had a gigantic month. So did Ryan Zimmerman for Washington, and the Nationals off to that great start. It was Zimmerman, I believe, who took home the hardware.
I thought he was the guy who had the best numbers. Led the league in average, homers, RBIs. It's kind of hard to compete with that.
And I don't think anybody thought Ryan was going to be capable of that after the injury problems he's had the last couple of years. So good for him.
Yeah.
Freddie scorches that one. Oh, what a play. Rivera to take away a double. Great play at first. And Freeman's robbed. 1 away.
Well, if this guy continues to hit and hit for a high average, even if he doesn't hit a ton of homers, he may well be getting a bulk of the playing time at first base, even when Duda comes back.
One away from Matt Kemp, who has struck out and lined out. Nine runs, 12 hits for the Mets, 3 runs, 6 hits for the Braves. And fouled away. And even count. Yeah, side note on that update for Kelsey a moment ago. The Brewers and Cardinals postponed today, moving the start time back till later in the afternoon tomorrow. As this one's blooped down the right field line. Bruce on the run, can't get there. He'll play it on a hop. And Kemp has a 1-out single. There's horrific flooding in suburban St. Louis. There's a town just west of St. Louis called Valley Park, and the Merrimack River flows through there. The town's underwater, and there are bridge closings, and it's almost an annual mess there when they get those springtime thunder showers and all the snow melt takes place. So thoughts and prayers to the people in suburban St. Louis as they go through the bad weather.
You bet.
Here's Nick Markakis. He's singled and scored. Braves got 2 runs last time up against DeGrom. Up and away. even count. Another pitch at 95 or better for DeGrom, who's showing no signs of weariness.
Good pitch. Couldn't make it much better. It's interesting to me that after a line drive out to left and a solid single to left by Nick against this guy tonight, he's still pitching him away.
Off the screen and out of play. We'll do it again. Jaime Garcia and Zach Wheeler will finish up the series here tomorrow. The weather forecast, we hope, will improve. And then the Cardinals come in for 3 over the weekend. Popped up left side. Reyes drifts out. Conforto comes in. It'll be Michael Conforto in left. Matt Kemp back to first, 2 away. And after Atlanta wraps up the series with the Cardinals, we're on the road again.
Shocker.
2 in Houston. Looking forward to seeing that Astros club. They are loaded. Catch up with Brian McCann and Evan Gattis. 2 with the Astros. Then we head to Miami for 3, and then we'll get ready to eat some poutine up in Toronto. That Canadian delicacy, as the Braves will face the Jays in a home-and-home set. Ball 1 for Tyler, who's got 2 hits. Toronto's winning tonight. They're beating the Yankees 6-5. They're banged up. Sanchez is hurt. Jay Happ is hurt. Josh Donaldson is hurt. Jose Bautista not hitting.
Edwin Encarnacion in Cleveland.
That's a big loss.
Depending on those pitching matchups, I wonder if we will see Ryan Howard with the DH in play in Houston and Toronto.
That's a good question, and interesting you bring that up. Ryan hit a home run tonight for Gwinnett. Three balls, no strikes. And ball 4.
Boy, Tyler's seeing the ball well. I mean, I know he's taking their 3-0 and you're down 6 runs, but even his last time up, when the count wasn't in his favor, he's just staying back, patient, trusting his hands, and just taking the barrel to the baseball. Nice to see.
Hard to figure how DeGrom can walk 6 men 2 starts ago, and now in a game where he leads by 6, he's walked 4.
Yeah.
Sure, that's what Dan Warthen's asking. He's the Mets pitching coach.
I don't think he's had a good cutter tonight. His efforts to, we see the spin, it looks like a slider, it's not moving. If it's a slider, there's a lot of hangers. If it's his cutter, it's not moving as much. Not close enough to swing at.
There's a shot toward the gap in right center. That's going to get down. That scores 1. Here comes Tyler to third. They're going to bring him around. There'll be a very late throw to the plate. Jace Peterson doubles home 2 runs with 2 outs, and the Braves come right back and make it a 9-5 game.
Remember his last time up when I said he came up and pinch hit off Familia and turned around a fastball? Well, guess what? That was 95 right there, folks. And I mean on time. Quick bat, and he delivers.
Let me ask you a question about DeGrom. We had that shot of him walking off the field looking at his fingers. Would a callus, a blister, something like that affect his ability to throw a cutter or a curveball?
It might, but it's certainly not affecting 95.
No.
I think if it was really bothering him, we would have seen him looking at it more.
Dansby Swanson with 2 outs has walked twice. He has scored twice. Boy, something the Braves have done an awful lot of this year. The other team scores and their offense in the Braves dugout has come right back and answered with some tallies of their own. That's got 4 in the 5th. Braves answer with 2 themselves. Nasty slider, and it's a 1-2 count. Lane Adams is on deck if Dansby could reach. Let's see what happens with a 1-2. Good eye.
It's weird. Anytime a hitter hits in 3 straight innings, you figure your team is in good shape. Well, that's what's happened with Dansby. He's hitting. This is his 3rd straight inning to be at the plate, and the Braves have put 5 runs on the board, but they're still down by 4.
And action has begun in the Mets pen. The pitch outside, full count.
The other thing Kevin Seitzer was talking about is that if you're looking for the ball in your wheelhouse more out away from the plate, you're going to see the breaking ball better, especially the breaking ball down and away that he just got.
Fought it off.
Good cut.
Jace has excellent speed at second base. If Dansby shoots one to right field, remember Jay Bruce has one of the most accurate and strongest arms in our league. But you got to put it in play first. We'll see what happens again. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Another walk.
What an at bat.
And again, Dan Worthen is out to visit Jacob deGrom, who looks a little frustrated.
I think he is. You can see the look on his face. He was mad when he hadn't made a good enough pitch to put Dansby away. Walks are great for this reason as a hitter, in that you see a lot of pitches and you're tracking the ball better. And it could be this is one of those nights that will benefit Dansby without benefit of a hit, but because he's seeing the ball better.
Well, it's been a week of firsts for Lane Adams. His first big league hit, first big league RBI, first big league stolen base. This would be a great spot for his first big league homer. Lane, the second Braves hitter off the bench. Bonifacio already has tripled home a couple of runs. See what Adams can do with 2 outs. Blown away. Home run cut. And he didn't get it. 1-1 the count.
That away though. Cut it loose. The way the ball's been jumping here, he could not even hit his best bolt. He just hit a Lane Adams fly ball, he might get a homer.
Rivera stole a strike.
Yeah, he did.
And strike 3 over the outside corner in the exact same spot. The Braves cash in a couple of walks and a Peterson double and score twice. 9-5 heading to the 6th. Wild one at SunTrust Park. We're through 5. It's 9-5 New York. Teams have combined for 20 hits so far. Big night coming here tomorrow night. Chipper Jones will be here tomorrow, making his final stop on the Ball Player Book Tour. Come early and hear him read a few pages starting at 4:45 in the Plaza. Anyone with a ticket to see the Braves and Mets that night will be able to get their copy of the Ball Player signed by Chipper at the Braves Clubhouse store in the Battery, Atlanta, starting at 6. So Chipper will read at 4:45. He'll sign at 6. Don't want to miss it. And if you haven't read Carol Rogers' book Ball Player with Chipper Jones, you're missing out. It's a terrific read. Ian Kroll in the 6th inning has Cabrera, Bruce, and Walker coming up, and Ian could use a good outing.
Yeah, he needs to stop the bleeding here. The offense is doing their job to try and come back, but the pitchers need to fire some zeros up there. Every other outing lately, Ian has allowed a run.
Swing and a drive hammered down the left field line. It is near the line and foul. That was close.
Yeah. Up there in the Hank Aaron Terrace.
That'll bounce into the stands. And a fan from Hazelhurst, Georgia, came up with a souvenir.
Is that right? Where's Hazelhurst? Down south?
Three balls, 2 strikes. Little dribbler left side. Adonis cuts this one off and dropped it. Cabrera's aboard for a 3rd time.
Adonis has had some tough plays to make, but this is probably an error. And it is. He just wasn't able to cover the baseball.
First error for either club tonight. Cabrera at first for Jay Bruce. In a game that featured Bartolo Colon and Jacob deGrom starting, the 2 starting pitchers and the Atlanta bullpen have combined for 1 1-2-3 inning tonight. There have been base runners everywhere. Nothing in 2 for Bruce. And a line drive hit toward left. Matt Kemp is there and puts the squeeze on that. And yes, Cabrera got back to first. He's not doubled off. 1 away. It's a moral victory for the Mets already. Here's Walker. He doubled and was doubled off in the opening inning. He's driven in a run. He's scored 2.
.29 at bats right-handed, .276 average, had a .182 average left-handed coming in. And a very upright stance right-handed too.
Do you often see that switch hitter with the same stance, lefty and righty?
I always heard from guys, and I don't know if Chipper would concur, but you want it to be a mirror image of the other. I played with a good switch hitter in Los Angeles, Reggie Smith.
Fly ball toward Ender in center. 2 out.
And that was one of his goals, was for both stances to be a mirror image of the other.
Here's Granderson. Mets have to be very happy with the extra work Curtis Granderson put in yesterday. It's paid off tonight. 2 doubles, 2 runs, and an RBI. Remember, Curtis Granderson had 3 hits in his last 49 at-bats before coming in tonight. Outside, ball 1. Miami's come back to take a lead in Tampa Bay. It's 7-5 Marlins. That game's in the 7th inning as their Sunshine State Series moves over to the Tampa St. Pete area. Runner goes, got a good jump, and Granderson fouled it away. Interesting note on the Marlins. Here we are on May the 3rd. Miami has 5 wins from their rotation, and they have a grand total of 8 quality starts this year by their starters. And Miami 11-14 and 5.5 games out of first.
Tied with the Braves.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs for Granderson. And that's in the dirt. And I think we would agree that that was one big question mark everyone had for the Marlins was, number one, how do they try to replace Jose Fernandez, which is going to be impossible, and then how do they put together a starting rotation that'll support what should be a terrific Marlins offense.
Well, they had that Four Corners road trip. It was hard on them. They actually came out of that pretty well until they went home and they got crushed their first game at home. But they do have Martin Prado back in their lineup. And while they may not be getting a lot of results from their bullpen, I like the arms they have in their bullpen. And there's a couple of guys in their rotation I like a lot who are off to slow starts, including Conley.
Late called strike 3, and Granderson leaves shaking his head. And Kroll does pitch a scoreless 6th. Top of the order coming up for Atlanta. 9-5 score.
7-6. That's not the score we're hoping for. But you know what? R.A. Dickey has been around a long time, 42 years old. He said Brian Snitker is one of the best communicators he's ever played for. So when I stick their microphone in the face of one of the best communicators in all of the game, he is always quick to point out that his team has a lot of heart and never says die and fights back, something that we all appreciate in Atlanta. No, we don't like the score tonight, but we have to love the way these guys are fighting back against one of the best pitchers in the game. Chip and Joe, back to you.
Excellent point, Paul Bird. And one of the best pitchers in the game is out of the game. Jacob deGrom is taken down after 5 innings. Josh Edgin's the pitcher. And Edgin will face Inciarte Garcia and Freddie Freeman in a 4-run game.
I think it was pretty obvious from my comments early in the ball game that when the Mets got 2 in the first off Bartolo Colon, that it was going to be a very uphill battle. Well, guess what? They put 5 on him. It's just that the Braves pitchers couldn't stop the bleeding.
Swing and a miss by Ender. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One thing about this Mets bullpen, they've given up their share of long balls. They've given up 16 of them, tied for 3rd most in the majors. Braves haven't touched Edgin for anything. No runs in 3 2/3 innings. Ground ball towards second. Walker's got it. And there's the first out. .109 pitches for deGrom in his 5 innings. But he pitched the minimum of 5 and left with the lead. So here's Adonis. He's got an infield hit in 3 tries tonight.
Terry Collins has 3 lefties in his bullpen: Edgin, Smoker, and Blevins. So depending on what inning or what situation arises with either Inciarte, Freeman, or Markakis, or Jace Peterson tonight, he's got an arsenal down there of lefties to try to neutralize them.
1 ball, no strikes. And bounced out of play. They do have a decision to make who's going to pitch on Friday for New York.
Is that Syndergaard's turn?
That's Syndergaard's turn. And Miguel Montero, not Miguel Montero. I'll think of it. Rafael Montero. Thank you, Joe. And Sean Gilmartin are 2 options for Terry Collins. 1 ball, 1 strike. Both Steven Matz and Seth Lugo are still a ways away from coming back. They've been playing long catch, but they're still, I'm sure, a couple of weeks at the very least away from the Mets even contemplating bringing them back to rotation. There you go. He's rung up at first. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, I didn't think he did, but I think he did. Didn't look like it at first blush.
That's line foul. Freddie's next. .954 here in Atlanta. 6 minutes till 10. In game 3 between the Braves and the Mets. New York leads it 9-5. The pitch is high. Deep count for Adonis. Driven toward right. Bruce came in, now drifts over a couple of steps and has plenty of room for the second out. Here's Freddie. Freeman, an RBI hit back in the 3rd inning.
Bringing the lumber last night, our Yellowwood feature. Freddie was bringing the lumber in the 1st inning. 2-run shot into the H&F Burgers. And with the left-hander pitching, not a 3-man shift to the right side, although Walker's deep in the grass in right field.
Freddie looking for his 9th multi-hit game of the year with this 6th inning at bat. And that's hammered down the left field line into the 3rd deck. Fouled at the plate. And it's 1-2.
Freddie's RBI in the 3rd inning gives him 17 for the year. That takes over the team lead.
Good eye. 2-2. And a swing and a miss and a sweeping slider. Impressive inning for Edgin. 3 up, 3 down, and we're off to the 7th.
Sponsorship presented by Echo Outdoor Power Equipment.
Slugfest in Atlanta, 9-5. New York has the lead. Believe it or not, no homers in the game, but a whole lot of hits. And we'll see what's happening tomorrow night. The series wrap-up is our SunTrust Confidence Play of the Game. That's your matchup.
Jaime Garcia will be looking for his 2nd win of the year. Zach Wheeler returns to Atlanta.
Sharply hit by Reyes right to first. That's an easy play. And that's out number 1 for Jason Mott, who's the 4th Atlanta pitcher.
Zach Wheeler out of Cartersville was taken by the Giants in the 1st round, traded to the Mets. Braves had him high on their list too. I think they picked right after the Giants that year and were all set to take him, but took Mike Minor after Zach Wheeler was picked.
Yeah, I think the Mets gave up Carlos Beltran to get Zach Wheeler. 1 ball, no strikes for Rivera. 7th inning, 9-5. Mets have the lead.
Jason had a good outing, his second outing as a Brave 2 nights ago. Pitched around a hit and a walk. Got that beard working again.
Rivera didn't get that. A ball and 2 strikes. Sharply hit to second and right at Jace Peterson. And he takes care of the New York catcher. 2 outs. Here's TJ Rivera. He's 1 for 3 with a double and a run scored. Mets have hit 6 doubles in the game tonight.
3 in the first inning.
Boy, Mott comes to the set position in as closed a position as anybody we've seen all year.
Yeah, and with nobody on base, he'll either come set or he might quick pitch you.
Got everything working to this point.
Yeah, he's talking to himself a lot out there too, boy.
Line drive toward the gap in left center. Ender over quickly to cut it off. Excellent work to hold Rivera to a long single. And TJ Rivera just keeps on hitting. That gives him 8 hits in his last 22 at bats.
Yeah, he's coming along nicely. Played in the World Baseball Classic for Puerto Rico just as Seth Lugo did, but Lugo got hurt while pitching for them. That's why they miss his services. He could really be a nice fill-in for him.
And here is Wilmer Flores.
Oh,
I guess the Mets made a roster move before the game. We were not made aware of that. So he's back and pinch hitting here in the 7th. Edgin worked a scoreless 6th with a strikeout. Wonderful to see Flores in the starting lineup with the left-handed Jaime Garcia tomorrow.
very well could be in there.
Strike one. And the roster move was Sean Gilmartin was sent to AAA just before game time. Thanks, Chan.
I would say that leaves the door open for Mr. Montero to pitch on Friday.
One thing television does not do and really cannot do is give you an idea of the scale of the size of the players. Look at Wilmer Flores in the box. That is a big man. He's 6'3", 203 pounds. According to the New York Media Guide.
Natural position is shortstop too.
He'll turn 26 in early August. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 9-5 New York. Wilmer had surgery in the offseason. October 6th, he had an operation to take out the hook of the hamate bone in his right wrist. And that was a wrist he hurt in early September. He didn't play after September 10th. He hurt it on a slide at the plate.
Against the Braves, I believe.
Washington. It was actually Washington.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was signed by the Mets on his 16th birthday. He made his major league debut on his birthday. And this one's driven toward right pretty deep. Marquette is backpedaling still, and at the edge of the track. Makes the play to retire the side. Nothing doing in the New York 7th. We stretch in Atlanta. Still a manageable game. It's 9-5 though New York, and Matt Kemp is coming up.
Your local Toyota dealer. Let's go places. And SunTrust.
9-5's your score. Braves have 9 outs left to get 4 runs against the Mets bullpen. Hopefully we'll be talking about a comeback win on Braves Live presented by Xfinity. And it's not going to get any easier for Atlanta. I don't know how you pitch any better than this guy did the other night. Addison Reed.
Yeah, but this seems early for him. He's usually the 8th inning guy. And he's in there an inning early tonight. We'll see how that plays out and see maybe it goes 2 or maybe there's somebody else Terry Collins likes a little better. He has given up 3 runs in his last 5 1/3 innings. And as you said, that does include that work a couple of nights ago here.
So Matt Kemp leads off. Matt's 1 for 3 with a run scored, and Reed misses. Ball 1.
Hard to stay back. Virtually no leg kick, just a stride and then a 3/4 delivery. And as you can see, throws hard. Pretty much a 2-pitch guy, mixes in a slider occasionally.
And there it was.
Not a very good one, but as Tom Glavine says, be bad enough that it's real bad.
Well, the old "it's so bad it was good." 2-2. Oh, Rivera held it. He's stolen a couple of strikes tonight, and that is a much appreciated art for any club's pitching staff. Full count. Driven in the air toward right center field. Granderson retreats to the warning track. Look at that ball carry out toward the wall. 1 out.
Well, we have figured out that that is a spot where the ball really jumps, right out there near the Braves bullpen. Because that ball did not sound like it was hit well.
So there's the first out. Nick Markakis 1 for 3 with a single and a 4th inning run. At spots where Reed put the ball consistently against Markakis in the 8th inning in Game 1. And Edison struck him out right across the shoe tops. Foul back.
Well, the Mets have really gotten after Nick. I don't know how they've done this, but he's 1 for 3 tonight. But coming into this game, 27 at bats so far this year, 12 strikeouts. That's a huge number for Nick.
One ball, 2 strikes. That's down the left field line. Conforto won't have a play. It's into the seats. And the finals are starting to rack up in the National League. Washington won tonight. They beat the Diamondbacks 2-1. The Reds beat the Pirates 7-2.
These two teams taking turns beating the tar out of each other.
And another strikeout from Markakis against this Mets staff. 2 up, 2 down. Reed retires Nick. And here's Tyler Flowers, who's had a perfect night at the plate.
Catcher number 25, Tyler Flowers.
We need a little 2-out lightning. Want to erase those 4 runs you're trailing. You need to get some base runners.
7 straight Braves have been retired by DeGrom, Edgin, and Reed. One and 2. New York got 2 in the first, 3 in the third, 4 in the fifth.
And a real oddity for them, no home runs for any of their runs.
Pop fly out of play. Still 1 and 2. Braves are down 5-0. Got a run in the third. got 2 in the 4th to make it 5-3. New York had the big 5th. Atlanta came right back with 2 themselves. That's where we stand now, 9-5 in the 7th. Spoiled that one to stay alive. This will be the 7th pitch for Tyler Flowers. And you see Rivera snatch that ball quickly to try to steal a strike. Too far outside. Full count.
He's good at it. Solid veteran catcher.
Driven toward Bruce in right. He'll drift back and have plenty of room. And the Braves are retired in order in the 7th. 9-5. New York has the lead. Let's send it out to Kelsey Wingert with tonight's showstopper.
Thank you, Chip. Man, what a month for some guys in the NL East. Any other month with the April Freddie Freeman had, he would have been NL Player of the Month. But Adam Zimmerman had other plans. He was out of his mind this month. Nick, he led the league in 5 batting categories.
Well, one thing that I like what he's done this year, he talked to Daniel Murphy in the offseason and said, you need to get the ball up in the air more often, and it's paid off. You look at the numbers here. Freddie Freeman could have possibly been NL Player of the Month in any other month last year. He won it in September, hitting .385 with 6 home runs and 22 RBIs. But Ryan Zimmerman was unbelievable so far this month. Bryce Harper was also good.
Yeah.
When you have a month like Zimmerman, you really can't argue not having Player of the Month honors.
I mean, Chip and Joe, it was nuts to see the production that some of the guys in the NL East had this month. And Freddie Freeman did really well, but it just came second to Adam Zimmerman.
Yeah, you look at the numbers in the National League. The Nationals have the top 2 hitters, batting average, Ryan Zimmerman, Bryce Harper. They have the top 3 guys in RBIs, Zimmerman, Murphy, and Harper. Murphy and Zimmerman, 1-2 in multi-hit games for the Washington Nationals. Really not surprising that, again, Zimmerman, Harper, and Murphy, 1, 2, 3 in hits in the National League.
Can't argue Ryan Zimmerman's work this month. As Kelsey said, he was on fire. He did everything right. Yeah, Daniel Murphy's a guy who said that he had changed his swing. He'd gone to more of an uppercut to try to get the ball in the air, and as Nick pointed out, some of that's rubbed off on Zimmerman in a very positive way, and won himself the Player of the Month award, and I thought he deserved it.
Yeah, Zimmerman leads in average, tied for first in homers, first in RBIs. He might win the Triple Crown at this pace, and I don't know if anybody would have thought that was possible, considering the myriad injuries that man has suffered.
Well, if the season ends today, he wins.
Yes.
He wins the Triple Crown.
Well, thankfully it's not going to. We've got a long way to go as Eric O'Flaherty is on to pitch for Atlanta in a 9-5 New York Game 3. O'Flaherty will face the top of the New York order, and he's in his 14th game.
Worked here last night. An inning, gave up a hit, but zeros across otherwise.
Michael Conforto led off with a double and scored the game's first run when Cabrera doubled him in against Colon in the first. And Eric misses up and in with ball 1.
Good inning for Jason Mott.
Two balls and a strike. And now it's 2-2.
Good fastball for Eric tonight. That was 92.
Sharply hit right through the shift. I know that Matthew Kaminsky plays some fun tongue-in-cheek walk-up music when opposing players come to the plate. You might want to break out "I'm a Believer" when it comes to Conforto with that pretty swing. He's got 2 more hits.
It's not often that a team will continue to shift on a left-handed hitter with a left-handed pitcher, just like the Mets have taken off their shift primarily against Freddie Freeman, but not Atlanta. They still believe that Conforto's trying to pull everything, and darned if he didn't.
So 14 hits tonight for the Mets. Asdrubal Cabrera has one of them. Mets season high in hits for a game is 20. That came on April 11th against the Phillies.
Eric's uncharacteristically high. Typically when he's up in the zone, that's not a good thing.
And a 4-pitch walk after the Conforto hit. 2 on, nobody out. And Tyler Flowers out for a quick chat. Bruce was late. 0-1.
Good time for Eric to break out the super sinker and get a ground ball. Shift on for Bruce. And that ball comes back like a rocket.
Right.
Speaking of Rocket Man.
One ball, 2 strikes. Driven toward left field. That's down for a hit. Conforto will be stopped at third. Ball got away from Kemp, but no advance. New York has them loaded.
New York could have 12 or 13 runs tonight if Ron Washington was coaching third. They have played it station to station and played it very conservatively on base hits like that. Matt looked like he was ready to concede the run to just try to keep the double play in order. But it was another pitch from O'Flaherty that was up that allowed Bruce to go the other way with it.
So no place to put Neil Walker, who scored twice. He's got 2 hits. Nothing has come easy for the Braves pitching staff tonight. They have only one 1-2-3 inning. Colon gave up 5 runs. Colemanter gave up 4. Eric O'Flaherty has the bases loaded. Nobody out.
Back up what I was saying about their conservative nature on the base running. They're 8 for 12 with runners in scoring position and have 9 runs. I don't know what Chuck Hernandez saw to go out so quickly to calm Eric down, but it looks like Eric was working real quickly and kind of in a furious pace.
Two balls, no strikes.
Up. He can't get the ball down tonight. I don't know if this is a product of having worked last night.
He had a green light. Conforto. Cabrera. Bruce. O'Flaherty. And nobody out. Little pop into shallow center. Ender is coming on. He's going to get there and make the catch. Another great jump by Inciarte, and that saved a run. Walker pops out, and there's out number 1.
Great read off the bat. Had a little drop step there, his first move, but it wasn't one that committed him to going back on the ball.
Granderson the batter. And a good stop by Tyler. Bouncing ball to Freeman at first. He's coming home for 1. Throw back to first is not in time. Braves cut down Michael Conforto at the plate. And there's the second out.
Freddie's got a good arm. Got rid of that quickly. Good hustle by Granderson to avoid the double play.
Jose Reyes a 2 RBI night. He needs 2 more to tie Kevin McReynolds with 456 RBIs as a Met. That would be good for 10th place all time in New York Mets history.
Never would have guessed that.
He's extended his on base streak to 10 consecutive games with a 3rd inning single tonight. So he's heating up. His average up to 177. Fly ball well hit toward the gap in left center. That's going to bounce to the fence. 2-run score. Here comes a runner around third. He is going to score. And Jose Reyes has passed Kevin McReynolds with a bases clearing double. And the Mets have blown it open. It's 12-5.
He's been trying all night to atone for that base running blunder. I think he's done it.
So Reyes with a 5 RBI night. He had 5 RBIs this year coming in. And that is going to be all for Eric O'Flaherty, whose spot is due third when the Braves come up in the 8th inning. So Eric threw 23 pitches. The Mets have 3 runs on 3 hits. And they're not done yet. Reyes at second base. Rivera, the catcher, is coming on. Double switch for Atlanta. Tyler Flowers will be taken down for Kurt Suzuki. And Atlanta is in the bullpen yet again here against the Mets. 12-5 is your score. Back to SunTrust Park in a minute. Tonight for the Mets. 3 runs in the 3rd, 4 in the 5th, 3 here in the 8th, and they're not done yet. And Matt Whistler is coming on to try to stop the bleeding right here and get this inning over with.
Well, to get that bad taste out of his mouth from last night when he gave up the grand slam to Jay Bruce in the 9th inning. That resulted in Jim Johnson having to come in and get the last out for the save. That's why the ERA is inflated. But other than that rough outing last night, Matt's looked good on the mound. So hopefully tonight he can get out of this jam, maybe work an inning plus and get back on track.
Suzuki behind the plate. He'll be placed on the lineup card in the 9th spot, which is coming up 3rd in the 8th inning. Yeah, offense hasn't been the problem tonight. It's been the inability to stop big innings. A 5 RBI game for Jose Reyes, the 2nd time he's done that in the major leagues. 1st time he's done it since 2003. Rene Rivera, the batter. And Whistler delivers a strike. Line drive into center. That's going to get down. Reyes running at the crack of the bat. Ender loads up. Here comes his throw to the plate. It's up the line. And Rivera greets Whistler with an RBI hit. Well, let's have them get it out of their system tonight. And hopefully Jaime Garcia will have a better time tomorrow night.
Well, again, it goes back to early runs. Just trying to keep him off the board early to give your pitcher a chance to get his feet under him, put some runs on the board yourself.
Nice stop by Suzuki. Even count. Matt got the call. 1-2.
Two-thirds of an inning, 3 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 1 walk. Two-thirds of an inning, 3 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 1 walk.
Two balls, 2 strikes. There's a bullet down the left field line. T.J. Rivera's having a big night. Rene Rivera around second, on his way to third, and again they're going to stop him. Three hits for T.J. Rivera, 3 hits for Rene Rivera.
Second time that he has pulled one down the third baseline. Have to remember that tomorrow. And this one, Matt Kemp thought might hit that jut out from the stands, and it didn't. It got all the way into the corner, so he had to go in there and get it. And I fully understand stopping Rivera there in a 13-5 lead.
Every Met who started this game has at least 1 hit, and that includes the starter Jacob deGrom. 7 of the 9 starters for the Mets have a multi-hit game tonight, and they've wrapped out 18 of them. And Juan Lagares is the hitter. New York has batted around here in the 8th.
Seven doubles tonight.
And an astounding 10 for 16 with runners in scoring position for New York. Ground ball deep left side. Dansby knocks it down, kicks it away. A run is in. Lagares has a hit. Rene Rivera scores. T.J. Rivera to third. And the Mets just keep on adding on. It's 14-5. How many doubles for the Mets?
7.
That might have been too many for my dad, believe it or not.
I don't know about that.
Well, after a game like this.
Right. Well deserved.
Yeah. They're 11 for 17 with Risp. Here's Conforto. Whistler hasn't retired a hitter. Strike 1. Fly ball, well hit. Kemp's not going to get that. That's going to score 1 for sure. Here comes Lagares. They're going to wave him around. Conforto's had a great night. Heck, he's had a great inning. That's his 2nd hit of the 8th. Another double. And New York has 16 runs on 20 hits.
I wish Matthew Kaminsky would play his organ a little bit louder just to drown out the crack of the bat.
A minute ago he played Always Look on the Bright Side of Life song from Monty Python. I wanted to go down and strangle him. Not anything positive about this one tonight. 16-5. Mets have matched their season high in hits with 20.
8 doubles now, Chad.
0-2. Popped up left center, and that carries out toward Ender, and he's going to need a break. He was running from pillar to post that entire 8th inning, and the Mets had a gigantic frame. Bottom of the 8th, 16-5 New York.
It's time for the hot game. Presented by
Hits. Mets 12 out of 19 with runners in scoring position, but a positive sign tonight. Season of firsts. SunTrust Park presented by Bill Holt Chevrolet, and Emilio Bonifacio provided it.
The first triple in SunTrust Park history. Into the right field corner, and he was pinch hitting when he did it. This is Fernando Salas, 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits and a run and a walk last night.
He's got the bottom part of the lineup card for the Braves. Juan Lagares takes over in center, as Jace couldn't stop himself. Reynolds has taken over at third for New York. So Reyes is out of the game. Rough night for Braves staff tonight.
Additional changes for the Mets. Left playing third base, number 15, Matt Reynolds. Moving from third base to shortstop, number 7, Jose Reyes.
Ground ball to first. Let me correct myself. As Salas got to the bag, Reyes moves from a third to short. He's not out of the game. It's Asdrubal Cabrera who is. And Dansby Swanson, the hitter, with 1 out. Braves relief corps has surrendered 11 runs tonight. Dansby's seen the ball well tonight. He's been on base 3 times. He's walked 3 times and scored twice. First career 3 walk game. Popped up right side. Who wants it? And Rivera dropped it. Walker was there. Bruce was there. Rivera looked to have the tougher play, and he couldn't hang on.
Yeah, Walker's got to take that at the very least. Bruce had a long way to go. Walker didn't. Call him off. Instead, it's an E3.
And that'll bring up Kurt Suzuki. A lot of folks still hanging out in the chop house here in the Atlanta 8th. Maybe we can get everybody to yell, "Hi, Joe."
The food's so good out there, I'd make them chase me off too.
2 balls, no strikes. That popped away from Rivera. Other games: Houston 8, Texas 1. Boy, the Astros are off to a great start. The Rangers have had a lot of injury problems, and bad news for them. Cole Hamels was pulled about 15 minutes before the start last night. He was sent back to Dallas. He has an oblique problem. He's going to miss probably 8 weeks for that Texas club.
Foul tip.
Suzuki got a free strike.
Yes, he did.
Or a free ball, I guess.
Yeah.
3-1 now. That's launched toward left. And it's a full count. There's a shot by Suzuki. Dansby around second, on his way to third. Long single for Kurtz, and Atlanta's got him at the corners.
Well, he's been tomahawking some high fastballs, hasn't he? Had the big home run in New York, a 3-run shot that won a ball game at Citi Field. Came up with a huge game-winning pinch hit single in Milwaukee. And turns on this fastball. Beautiful. Swung the bat like his ribs didn't even hurt.
Yep. Here's Ender. He's 0 for 3 with a walk. Rockies are winning tonight 4-1 in San Diego. Ian Desmond is back for them. He's played first base and he's played left field for the Rockies. Good stop. Rivera evens the count. Cubs 5, Phillies 4 in the 8th. At Wrigley Field. That was Eichhoff and Arrieta in Chicago tonight. Giants visiting the Dodgers. That one's scoreless. Samardzija and Urias. Adrian Gonzalez having some back problems for the Dodgers. They'll have to make some roster moves by the end of the week. Jock Peterson and Logan Forsythe are set to come back before weekend play. Cleveland beat Detroit 3-2. Yankees beat Toronto 8-6. Boy, a star-crossed year for Toronto.
Yeah, they had the lead earlier, 6-5, I think. Minnesota's about to win their 4th straight game if they hang on.
Twins are getting some great pitching from Irvin Santana. As this one's popped up. Reynolds gives way to Reyes, and that's the 2nd out. And Adonis Garcia, the batter. Irvin Santana entered play tonight with an .066 earned run average, less than a run for the Twins. 5 wins had him tied with Dallas Keuchel of Houston. So a nice comeback for Irvin Santana and Minnesota, which had an awful year last year after fighting for the playoffs a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I hope they hang in there and battle for the division. If they don't, boy, they got a trade piece at the deadline.
Right now, that is definitely a 4-team race. White Sox lead Minnesota, Cleveland, and Detroit by a half game. Entering action tonight. 1-0 for Adonis. Ripped foul. That'll skip into the lower deck. 1-1.
I don't know that anybody had Kansas City with the fewest wins at this stage of the season. 8-17. They're 2-11 on the road.
And talk about a team that's going to have some trade pieces at the deadline if this keeps up. For Dayton Moore, fly ball, well hit toward right center. Lagares is over, under, and out go the Braves in the 8th inning. We head to the 9th.
Back into our set here in the Battery Atlanta. I'm Kelsey Wingert with another Xfinity game break. Let's get you out to Houston, where the Braves head early next week. It's a Lone Star battle between the Astros and the Rangers. Bottom of the 2nd, 1-0 Houston. And there's a familiar face, Brian McCann. Solo shot to right off of Nick Martinez. That is his 4th home run of the year. The Astros currently lead 8-1 in the top of the 8th.
Houston's a real good ball club, Kelsey. They lead the American League in batting average. They're in the top 3 in ERA. Houston in the middle of the pack defensively, but on quite a roll to start 2017. And you're right, we will see them next week. You mentioned Kansas City. One reason why the Royals are in last place. Coming into play tonight, Kansas City had scored as a team 69 runs. Let me put that in perspective for you. Bryce Harper and Ryan Zimmerman have scored 56.
Not a good comparison if you're a Royals fan.
No. And a lot of players that are potential free agents. So I think the Royals will be a very active team at the deadline, if not before.
That Whistler now, he's got a clean inning to start with. And he walks the first guy on 4 pitches. The game is out of hand. Get after him.
$16 runs, 20 hits for the Mets. And there's a strike.
Luis Gohara pitched tonight for the Florida Fire Frogs. They had a doubleheader, so it was a 7-inning game. He pitched great again.
Backhand play by Freeman out there. Safe there. 1 out.
He went 6 innings, 5 hits, and only 1 run allowed. Walked 2, struck out 3. His ERA is down to 1.69.
Wow.
He's the big left-handed kid out of Brazil. Braves got him from the Mariners, I believe it was.
Here's Reynolds. I think Patrick Weigel won tonight for Mississippi. Don't have his line, but he was the starter for the Mississippi Braves this evening. Ozzie Albies last night hit a home run for Gwinnett. As Reynolds takes a strike. Braves organizational record at the start of play tonight, 52-47 in the minor leagues. Gwinnett was 3 games out of first. Mississippi was 4 out of first. Rome 17-8 leads the Southern Division in the Sally League. At the start of tonight's action.
Weigel went 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, a walk and 2 strikeouts. His ERA at 2.78.
Colby Allard's on that Mississippi staff. He's the starter with the best ERA down there. He's at 1.67. And again, the Braves Double-A team got a rave review from a major league scout who said he saw that Mississippi team for a couple of series and he did something he's never done before, and he wrote for his organization every single starter on that staff was a major league acquire, meaning if there's a potential trade with his club and the Braves, he would recommend any one of those 5 starting pitchers for his organization. That does not happen very often, if at all. So here's Reyes after the Reynolds strikeout. Big night for Reyes. He passed Kevin McReynolds on the Mets RBI list with a 5 RBI night. Strike 1. Final in Tampa Bay. The Marlins won tonight. Conley picked up his 2nd win. Miami 10, Tampa Bay 6. walk. Three hits for Rivera. He scored 2. Again, 7 of the 9 Mets starters have double digits in hits.
Well, you get to this point in the ball game, and if you're a Braves fan, it's like, come on, just swing the bat. Well, that guy's up there. He wants to get a hit as bad right now as he did in the first or second inning.
And Rivera just hit that one a country mile, but flies out. And Freddie Freeman will start the Atlanta ninth. Nothing after 2.5 innings. Atlanta came back with a run in the third, 2 in the fourth to make it 5-3. But then the Braves bullpen got into the action, and it didn't go well tonight for the Braves relief corps. They've given up 11 runs in 5 innings of relief. And now Josh Smoker is on to try to record the final 3 outs for the Mets, who have a whopping 11-run lead.
Well, he had a rough outing last night, so he'd like to have a good inning too. A third of an inning, 2 hits, and they both scored.
The Mets bullpen has pitched 3 innings of 1-hit ball after Jacob deGrom had some trouble tonight. deGrom normally a very tough customer. He was tough tonight, but didn't have his ace stuff. 5 walks, 8 hits, 5 runs in 5 innings.
He was fortunate that he had so many runs to work with tonight.
Out of play, foul. One of your forward keys was early innings, and how would Bartolo Colon weather the storm? He did not have good stuff tonight. In fact, for Bartolo now, it's his 3rd straight struggle. 15 earned runs in his last 16 innings of starting work.
Yeah, that's got to get better.
We're approaching 400 pitches in this game tonight between the Braves and Mets. Swing and a miss. Freddie didn't get it, and he strikes out for the 2nd time tonight. 1 away in the 9th.
Rene Rivera went right to that same pitch that Edgin struck him out on back in the 6th inning.
So the Braves will just try to toss this one in the waste can and get after it tomorrow with Zach Wheeler, the opponent. Jaime Garcia for the Braves. It'll be an emotional game for Wheeler, pitching here in Atlanta again, place where he made his big league debut a few years back at Turner Field. It's been a long road back for Wheeler with the Tommy John surgery. Kemp is down on strikes. Nick has a fourth inning single and run scored.
And as I said in the top half of the inning about hitters who are coming up, you just want them to swing and get it over with. And I said, you know, they want their hits too. On the flip side of that, that's not to say that Freddie and Kemp and Nick aren't up there doing their dead level best to get a hit, but it is very tough to focus in the ninth inning down 16-5, especially against a guy that's got good stuff like Smoker.
One ball, two strikes. In a game that has seen 21 runs and 29 hits to this point, there has not been a home run at SunTrust Park tonight. Up and in. And if the homerless stat holds, it'll be the third game in this park without either team hitting a homer. But still 23 have been hit before tonight here. Sharply hit. Walker retreats. Off balance throw to first. Rivera picks it, and that's the ball game. The New York Mets with 16 runs, a season high tying 20 hits, a 5 RBI night for Jose Reyes, and the Braves will try to earn a split tomorrow night behind Jaime Garcia against Zach Wheeler. Let's put this one behind us, partner, and get after it tomorrow in Game 4.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's a good pitching matchup. Braves can still salvage a split of the series.
DeGrom beats Cologne, no save, and we'll recap it for you on Braves Live right after this.